My child, before this moment reached you, I was already here. I saw you long before your eyes ever rested on these words. Nothing about this encounter is accidental, and nothing about you arriving here is ordinary. You were not wandering, you were being guided. Even the pauses, the distractions, the moments you almost passed by, each of them stood under my watch. Heaven made room for this meeting because your heart was ready to hear what your spirit has been carrying for so long. I know the weight you've borne in silence. I know the questions you never spoke aloud, and the prayers you whispered when strength felt thin. You wondered if time had passed you by, if doors had quietly closed while you were still waiting. Hear me now. Nothing was lost. Nothing was forgotten. I was not delayed. I was preparing you. What felt like stillness was shaping. What felt like absence was protection. I have been closer than your breath, steady when your thoughts were restless, present when answers seemed far away. Every tear you hid, every moment you endured without applause, every step taken without certainty, I saw it all. I was guarding what you could not yet carry. I was training your discernment, strengthening your spirit, anchoring you in ways that would not collapse under what is coming. This is not the beginning of effort. It is the unveiling of readiness. You did not arrive late. You arrived aligned. What I promised in the quiet was never revoked, only reserved. And now, as you pause and listen, understand this. The season before you is not built on striving, but on trust. Remain here with me. Let your heart settle. What unfolds from this point forward will make sense of everything that came before, and it will be carried not by urgency, but by peace. My child, I see you. Not as the world has labeled you, not as you have learned to measure yourself, but as you truly are, known, held, and remembered in every season you thought passed unnoticed. Before you learned how to endure quietly, I was already watching you carry what few ever saw. Before you learned how to smile while aching, I had already counted every tear and weighed every moment you chose faith over retreat. You have wondered, in the long stretches of waiting, if your perseverance mattered. You asked yourself whether obedience without recognition had meaning, whether staying when it would have been easier to leave was foolish. Hear me clearly now. Nothing you carried was wasted. Nothing you endured was overlooked. I do not forget the hidden places. I work there most carefully. There were nights when silence pressed in on you, when prayers felt like echoes that never returned. You questioned whether I was still near, whether I had turned my attention elsewhere. But I never withdrew. I never looked away. I was not absent in your quiet. I was attentive. I was shaping something within you that could not be formed in noise or haste. You mistook my patience for distance. You mistook my restraint for delay. But I was not withholding out of reluctance. I was protecting you out of love. What I was preparing required depth, steadiness, and trust that could only be built through time spent unseen. I was strengthening your roots so that when the weight of what is coming rests upon you, you will not bend under it. I know the moments when you felt overlooked while others advanced. I know how it felt to watch doors open for people who seemed less prepared, less careful, less faithful. You asked why your path felt slower, narrower, quieter. My child, I was not measuring you against others. I was forming you for something specific, something that would require discernment, humility, and a heart anchored in me rather than in outcomes. You were not passed over. You were being preserved. Every delay you resented was a shield. Every closed door you grieved was a mercy you did not yet recognize. I was keeping you from entering spaces that would have demanded from you what you were not meant to give. I was sparing you from burdens that would have distracted you from your true calling. What you called loss, I called alignment. You have carried disappointment with dignity, even when it wounded you. You learned how to keep moving without clarity, how to obey without applause, how to trust without reassurance. That endurance did not harden your heart, it refined it. You are not the same person who first began this journey, and that transformation did not happen by accident. I was with you in every step of it. I saw the prayers you stopped speaking out loud because you feared they sounded foolish. I saw the hope you folded carefully and tucked away so it would not be crushed by repeated waiting. You thought you were protecting yourself, but I was protecting the promise. Some things must remain hidden until the heart carrying them is strong enough to steward them well. You did not imagine the resistance you felt, the tension, the heaviness, the sense that progress required more effort than it should have. Those were signs that something valuable was being guarded. You were never weak for feeling weary. You were faithful for continuing anyway. And I honored that faithfulness long before you saw any evidence of it. I know you questioned whether you had misunderstood me. You revisited old words, old promises, wondering if you had heard correctly or hoped too much. Let me settle that now. I have not changed my mind about you. What I spoke over you remains intact. Time does not erode my intentions. Silence does not cancel my commitment. What you experienced as waiting was actually preparation happening beneath the surface. While you focused on what was not moving, I was aligning what you could not see. While you measured progress by visible outcomes, I was shaping character, wisdom, and discernment, things that cannot be rushed without consequence. You have learned how to listen more than you speak, how to discern rather than react, how to remain soft without becoming fragile. These were not survival skills, they were stewardship skills. I was teaching you how to carry what is coming without letting it carry you away from me. I want you to understand this. I do not prepare people through spectacle. I prepare them through faithfulness in ordinary days, through obedience that looks small, through trust that endures without explanation. You have lived those days. You have walked that road, and I have been with you in every unseen step. You were never abandoned in your questions. I was near, allowing you to wrestle not so you would break, but so you would mature. There is a strength in you now that did not exist before, a steadiness that does not depend on circumstances, a peace that does not collapse when answers are slow to come. That strength was formed in the very season you wished away. Do not mourn the version of yourself that struggled. Honor them. They carried you here. They chose me again and again without certainty, without guarantees, without comfort. That choice mattered. It still does. I am not revealing this to overwhelm you. I am revealing it to steady you. You do not need to rush forward or brace yourself for impact. What is unfolding does not require panic or striving. It requires the same posture that carried you through the waiting: trust, humility, and attentiveness to my voice. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not catching up. You are exactly where you need to be, at the precise moment your heart is ready to receive what I have been preparing. This is recognition, not just of what is coming, but of what has already been done within you. Rest here for a moment. Let your spirit settle into the truth that you are known, that you have been guided, and that nothing about your journey has been wasted. This is the foundation upon which the next season will rise, quietly, steadily, and in perfect alignment with my purpose for you. My beloved, hear me now as I speak with clarity and calm authority. The season you have been living in is coming to its close, not with disruption, not with chaos, but with a gentle certainty that something has shifted beneath your feet. You may not yet see all the evidence, but you can sense the change. The weight you carried no longer rests the same way. The questions that once consumed you have begun to loosen their grip. This is not imagination. This is transition. You are not stepping into something unfamiliar without preparation. You are stepping into what you have been quietly prepared for all along. What I am doing now is not sudden, though it may feel swift. It is the natural unfolding of seeds planted in patience, watered by endurance, and strengthened through trust. You are not being rushed forward. You are being released. This is the season where movement begins to match maturity. I am expanding your vision, not to overwhelm you, but to lift your gaze. For so long your focus was narrowed by necessity. You learned how to survive, how to endure, how to remain faithful when clarity was scarce. Now I am inviting you to see beyond survival. You are not meant to live braced for loss. You are meant to live anchored in purpose. In your relationships, I am shifting dynamics that once drained you. You will notice a new discernment rising within you, a quiet confidence about where you belong and where you do not. This is not separation born of pride. It is alignment born of wisdom. You will no longer feel compelled to explain yourself to those who cannot steward your heart well. I am surrounding you with connections that honor growth, not just history, and with conversations that bring life instead of confusion. Some relationships will deepen, not because they suddenly change, but because you have. Others will loosen their hold, not through conflict, but through clarity. Trust this. I am teaching you how to walk in peace without carrying responsibility for what others choose not to understand. In the area of provision, I am expanding your capacity to receive without fear. You have learned restraint, caution, and careful stewardship because you had to. Now I am inviting you to trust me beyond mere maintenance. This does not mean excess without purpose. It means sufficiency with intention. You will begin to see pathways open, ideas, opportunities, resources that align with who you are becoming, not who you were trying to survive as. I am not calling you into striving. I am calling you into cooperation. What unfolds financially will unfold progressively, responsibly, and in ways that strengthen your peace rather than threaten it. You will learn that provision is not just about supply. It is about trust deepening between us. In your body and your inner life, I am restoring balance. The strain you carried internally, the constant readiness, the tension you normalized, will begin to ease. You may notice rest coming more naturally, clarity replacing mental noise, and resilience returning without effort. This is not because pressure disappears overnight, but because you are no longer carrying it alone. I am teaching you how to live from a place of rest rather than recovery. Your calling, too, is expanding, not in volume, but in clarity. You no longer need to chase purpose or prove usefulness. What I have placed within you will surface in its time, through faithfulness in what is already before you. You will feel drawn toward work that aligns with your values, your growth, and your compassion, rather than your fear of falling behind. I am not interested in how impressive your life appears. I am invested in how deeply rooted it becomes. Your calling will unfold as a continuation of who you are, not a departure from yourself. You will recognize it by the peace that accompanies it, even when it stretches you. This season marks a shift from endurance to stewardship. I am entrusting you with more, not as a reward, but as a responsibility shaped by relationship. You have learned how to listen. Now you will learn how to act without losing that listening posture. You have learned patience. Now you will learn movement without haste. You have learned humility. Now you will learn confidence without pride. Do not be surprised if things begin to align more smoothly than before. This is not because life has become effortless, but because resistance has lessened. You are no longer fighting against timing. You are walking within it. When decisions arise, clarity will meet you more readily. When challenges come, they will no longer shake your sense of direction. I am expanding your inner peace, not by removing every uncertainty, but by anchoring you more deeply in me. You will find that your reactions soften, your responses steady, and your confidence quiet but firm. This peace is not fragile. It is not dependent on outcomes. It is built on trust that has been tested and proven. You may feel a desire to move forward more intentionally, to simplify, to reorder priorities, to release what no longer fits. Follow that prompting gently. You do not need to dismantle your life to honor this transition. Small adjustments made with awareness will carry more power than dramatic changes driven by urgency. Remember this: growth does not require noise. As I expand your life, I am also refining your focus. You will begin to recognize what truly matters and what merely demands attention. This clarity will protect you from distraction and exhaustion. You are not meant to say yes to everything that presents itself. You are meant to steward your energy with wisdom and grace. This season will not erase the past, but it will reinterpret it. What once felt like detours will reveal themselves as necessary shaping. What once felt like limitation will show itself as protection. You will not regret the waiting when you see what it preserved within you. I am with you in this transition, not pushing, not pulling, but walking beside you. You do not need to fear missteps. I am attentive. I am patient. I am committed to completing what I have begun in you. Let yourself expand without striving. Let yourself receive without guilt. Let yourself move forward without abandoning the trust that carried you here. This is not the end of a story. It is the widening of one. And I will continue to lead you, step by steady step, into what is next. My child, now that you have come this far, I speak to you not as one struggling to endure, but as one entrusted to steward. What I place before you in this season is not a reward for survival, nor a trophy for perseverance. It is trust. And trust, when given, carries both honor and responsibility. You are stepping into a way of living that is shaped less by reaction and more by intention, less by fear of loss and more by faithfulness in relationship with me. I am not elevating you to distance you from humility. I am anchoring you deeper within it. Everything I entrust to you, opportunity, influence, provision, peace, is meant to draw you closer to my heart, not further from it. You will not be asked to perform or impress. You will be invited to remain attentive, obedient, and present. This is how what you carry will remain light even as it grows. Stewardship begins with how you hold your heart. Guard it gently, not with suspicion, but with discernment. You no longer need to harden yourself to survive. I have not brought you here to live defensively. I have brought you here to live wisely. You can remain open without being unguarded, compassionate without being consumed, generous without being depleted. I am teaching you balance, and balance is born from trust in me rather than control over outcomes. As your life expands, voices will multiply. Opinions, expectations, invitations, and interpretations will surround you. You do not need to respond to all of them. My voice remains steady, clear, and near. Stay attentive to it. I will guide you not through urgency, but through peace. When something is meant for you, it will align without forcing. When something is not, you will feel a gentle resistance, not condemnation. Trust that guidance. I am aligning your future not around achievement, but around relationship. Do not measure your progress by comparison. What others carry is not your assignment. What others achieve is not your timeline. You are walking a path shaped specifically for who you are becoming, and that path requires presence more than speed. There will be moments when waiting returns, not as stagnation, but as refinement. Do not fear those pauses. They will no longer feel empty. They will feel anchored. You will steward influence differently than you imagined. It may not always be loud or visible, but it will be weighty. The way you listen, the way you respond, the way you remain steady under pressure will speak louder than any declaration. People will notice not because you demand attention, but because peace follows you into rooms where it once struggled to remain. Remain gentle with your growth. There will be days when you feel strong and days when you feel uncertain. Both are part of living in alignment. Do not mistake uncertainty for failure. It is often an invitation to lean closer, to listen more carefully, to depend more fully on me. You do not need to have everything resolved to move forward faithfully. You only need to remain connected. As you steward what is placed in your hands, remember this: abundance is not proven by accumulation, but by flow. Hold what I give you loosely enough that it can move through you, into kindness, generosity, service, and compassion. I am not interested in what you can store. I am invested in what you can carry with integrity. Your future will unfold in seasons, not all at once. There will be chapters of expansion and chapters of quiet faithfulness. Honor both. Do not rush past simplicity in pursuit of significance. Some of the most meaningful work you will do will happen in ordinary moments, unseen by many, but deeply valued by me. Stay rooted in gratitude. Gratitude will keep your heart aligned when success comes and when it feels delayed. It will remind you where your strength comes from and where your confidence rests. You do not need to rehearse your past pain to stay humble. You can remember it gently, without letting it define you. What you endured shaped you, but it does not confine you. I am not asking you to carry the future alone. I am already there. I have gone ahead of you, not to rush you forward, but to prepare spaces where your gifts will be used wisely and your heart will remain whole. When uncertainty arises, return to what you know. I am faithful. I am present. I am attentive to every step you take. Let obedience remain simple. Do not complicate what I ask of you. Often it will sound like small faithfulness, listening, responding with kindness, choosing integrity when it would be easier to compromise, resting when the world urges you to prove yourself. These choices will shape your future more than any grand decision ever could. You are not responsible for outcomes. You are responsible for alignment. When you walk closely with me, outcomes will take care of themselves. Not always in the ways you expect, but always in ways that serve your growth and reflect my goodness. You will learn to trust this more deeply as time unfolds. As this chapter closes, I want you to rest in this truth. You are not being sent ahead alone. You are being led. What lies before you is not fragile. It is supported by the same faithfulness that carried you through what lies behind you. Remain near. Remain humble. Remain attentive. Your future is not something you must chase. It is something you will walk into, step by steady step, in alignment with me. And as you do, you will find that what I am building in you is far greater than anything I place around you. My beloved, now I invite you into something quieter, deeper, and more sustaining than momentum or achievement. This chapter is not about doing more or reaching further. It is about abiding, learning how to remain with me when movement slows, when applause fades, and when the future no longer needs to be chased. What I am forming in you now is not urgency, but permanence. You have learned how to walk through pressure. You have learned how to steward growth. Now you are learning how to live from rest. Rest is not retreat. It is alignment. When I call you to rest, I am not asking you to disengage from purpose. I am asking you to trust that purpose does not collapse when you stop striving. I am teaching you how to remain fruitful without exhausting your soul. This is a lesson many resist, because the world rewards effort more than trust. But my kingdom has always been built on abiding, not burning out. You no longer need to prove that you are faithful. Your life already bears witness. In this season, you may notice that I am less loud than before. Not because I am distant, but because you are learning to recognize my presence without constant reassurance. There is a maturity and quiet confidence, a knowing that does not demand signs at every step. This is not the silence of absence, it is the silence of intimacy. I am inviting you to let go of the need to anticipate every outcome. Planning has its place, but peace does not come from control. It comes from trust. You do not need to carry tomorrow in your thoughts today. I am already there, steady and prepared. When the time comes for action, clarity will rise naturally, without panic. You are allowed to enjoy what I have given you. Joy is not a distraction from holiness. It is an expression of it. You do not dishonor me by resting, laughing, breathing deeply, or enjoying simple moments. You honor me when you trust that my goodness is not fragile. Let yourself experience life without constantly bracing for loss. I am not waiting to take things away from you. I am teaching you how to receive them with gratitude. As you rest, I will continue to renew you. There will be healing that happens quietly, without dramatic moments or sudden realization. Old tensions will loosen. Old fears will lose their authority. You may not notice the exact moment they release, but one day you will realize they no longer govern your reactions. This is how I heal deeply, gently, thoroughly, without drawing attention to the wound. You do not need to revisit old pain to validate your growth. You are not required to relive what I have already redeemed. When memories surface, let them pass through you without judgment. They are reminders of where you have been, not directions for where you must return. Remain attentive to the small invitations I place before you. Sometimes they will look like rest when you expected productivity. Sometimes they will look like stillness when you expected direction. Trust that I know how to pace your life. I am not interested in using you up. I am committed to sustaining you. You will find that your discernment continues to sharpen, not through analysis, but through familiarity with my presence. You will recognize what aligns and what does not more quickly now. Not because you are suspicious, but because you are anchored. What does not belong will simply fail to settle in your spirit. I am teaching you how to live whole. Wholeness is not perfection. It is integration. Your faith, your desires, your responsibilities, and your rest existing together without contradiction. You no longer need to compartmentalize your life to survive it. I am with you in every part of it, and nothing about you is too small or too ordinary for my care. When challenges arise, and they will, you will notice that they no longer shake you the same way, not because they disappear, but because you are rooted. Storms do not determine the strength of a tree, its roots do. Yours have gone deep. Let your prayers become conversations again. Not requests driven by anxiety, but communion shaped by trust. You do not need to come to me with rehearsed words or perfect understanding. Simply come, sit with me, speak when you need to, listen when you are quiet. Relationship, not performance, has always been my desire. As this chapter unfolds, your life will not feel dramatic. It will feel steady. And steadiness is not stagnation, it is sustainability. From this place, everything I place before you will grow in its proper time.